My name is Apollo, and I'm the head Overwatch coach at Esports Tower. Rumors dropped last week about Overwatch 2 coming in about 3 weeks. I know we are all sitting on the edge of our seats waiting to see if that's going to happen. The prospect of this game being so close really gets me thinking about what I can start doing to prepare myself to start playing 5v5, but more on that in a minute. Overwatch developers love consistency. For example, updates almost always come on Tuesdays, annual events we all know and love are predictable almost to the day each year, and more often than not, we usually wait a week after an event to have anything new. So, if we put 2 and 2 together, Tuesday, 1 week after the Lunar New Year event ends, will be February 22nd of 2022. In other words, we could get Overwatch 2 on 2/22/22. It's too perfect. Okay, I'll stop, but for real, I can barely contain myself thinking about it. We might finally be so close. I hope you and your Scrim team are ready, because if this is true, there won't be a single 6v6 Scrim team left to play anymore. Everyone, everywhere will immediately move to 5v5 on beta. So what can you do now to prepare yourself for Overwatch 2? Right now is the perfect time to ask, what is preventing you from improvement? Is it tilt? Are you playing the blame game? Are you not investing the time needed? What is stopping you from getting better? Maybe it's a combination of several things, but here are 3 things you can be working on in Overwatch 1 that will help you have early success in Overwatch 2. Number 1 is your mentality. Your mentality is everything in a game like Overwatch. It's a skill just like your aim that takes conscious effort to develop. It doesn't just happen by putting more hours into the game. If you want to be successful in game and in life, your mentality is the most important thing to focus on. One question you can ask yourself is, did I care too much about this loss? If the answer is yes, try ending your day on a loss. Then ask yourself why it is you care so much about losing. In the majority of cases, caring too much comes from a good place, but we accept it as negative energy causing tilt instead of spinning it into fuel to make us better. Even in a loss, make a conscious choice to be making progress instead of blaming teammates. An easy example of this for me is in the Call of Duty franchise. One of the things I like in Call of Duty is that each new game title has a very linear progression to start off with. Everyone is grinding for objectives to max out weapon skins, which results in progress with every kill. So win or lose, you feel like progress is being made. This should be your same mentality in Overwatch. No, of course we aren't grinding away for cosmetics anymore, but the point is that wins and losses aren't ultimately what matters. You learning something from that win or loss is. So once you think through that, go back to these losses to see what you could have done differently. When you discover things to work on, make yourself a list, and then each time you load into a match, ask yourself, what will be my focus during this team fight, this map, or even this day? You'll find yourself ending each session feeling more confident and proud of the progress being made. Number 2 is positioning. Positioning has always been somewhat of a daunting idea to me, and if that's you too, it doesn't have to stay that way. Let's break it down into a few very simple things. Number 1, always have cover. IOStux has a great video talking about all things positioning, but one important thing he mentions is the 0.4 second rule. In essence, you need to be close enough to cover at all times to jump out of harm's way in a moment's notice. By doing this, you won't get caught out by high noons, diva bombs, or other line of sight ults. Practice always having a way out. Number 2, prioritize high ground. It is king in every single FPS game because it's space that has to be taken. If an enemy team decides to leave you alone, they will be severely punished for it. High ground allows you to control how and when you engage, meaning you get to choose exactly when you have the advantage to take the fight to them. Number 3 is effective range. Think about the hero you are playing and focus on what your optimal range is in comparison to what the enemy team is running. Give yourself the best opportunity to win matchups. This also means swapping your hero if you aren't syncing up with your team. For example, if your team is all running range heroes and bunkering down, Moira probably isn't the best option, even if she's your best hero, because you'd have to go in alone to get damage in order to replenish your healing resources. Choose heroes that synergize with your team so that you can position accordingly. The final point of focus to prepare for Overwatch 2 is timing and fight planning. If you are feeling hard stuck in a rank, I'd argue that it's probably not your aim and likely not your positioning. My guess is that it's your timing. First of all, let's talk about timing for when you engage. You and your team want to be in control when it comes to tempo. You always have the potential to choose how and when your team engages. As soon as each fight ends, you need to focus on resetting into good positions or plan the next rotation. Ult track the enemy team to help you decide which ults you want to use aggressively in the next fight. Planning ahead helps you reduce the amount of times your team gets caught off guard. I don't know how your team usually reacts, but in my experience, getting caught off guard usually results in everyone on the team ulting at the same time. Pre-planning your engagements will help your team live through more of the enemy team's aggression and allow your own team's aggression to be more effective because it's focused together instead of being scattered all over the map. Second is about timing your flanks. Flanks can single-handedly win or lose you team fights, and it solely depends on how good your timing is. If you show yourself too early and get caught out, your team is almost guaranteed to lose the fight. Too late, and you force your team into an unnecessary 5v6. Communicate with your team, or at the very least pay attention to their outlines through the wall to see when you should engage. Ideally, you wait until the engage is just beginning and 1 or 2 big cooldowns have been used from the enemy team. So for example, Sigma has no more grasp or D.Va has no more boosters left, and that's when you show yourself and there's nothing the enemy team can do about it. You can outplay them far easier with timing instead of solely relying on your mechanics. In conclusion, once you've solidified in your mind that everything is a learning opportunity, start to question everything. Overwatch 2 is going to be filled with new heroes, new maps, and new game modes. Things that are known as universally true in Overwatch 1 might not be true anymore. Every player will need to rediscover what the best things to play in a new title will be. Start asking yourself why certain compositions work well together. Theorycraft new and wacky compositions that fundamentally do similar things to what you already know, because if you understand why things work, you'll more quickly be able to slot in new heroes to make compositions better in the context of Overwatch 2. So for now, don't be afraid to experiment and even die a lot. Learn new heroes, change your aim sensitivity, try a new role. Be patient with yourself during the learning process and allow yourself to take the time to focus on improvement for the sake of improvement. With that, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. May the ranked odds be ever in your favor, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you're in high school and looking for a place to get noticed by collegiate Overwatch teams or even want to go pro, then you need to check out Esports Tower. Going at it alone can only get you so far. Our coaches work closely with players to motivate them, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and make sure they are playing at their best. By joining Esports Tower, you'll also receive exclusive opportunities to play in front of college recruiters, meet and greet collegiate players, and you might even get to meet some of your favorite influencers along the way. Use the link in the description for a 2-week free trial.